Welcome. Today, you're visiting with me and Homer, also known as Mr. Plow today, because he's wearing this hat thingy. Yes. And we are going to learn about bar chords. And good Homer knows a lot about those, because he's always down at Moe's, which is a bar. And something about chords in that joke as well. I don't know. Okay, so that's not what it is. You don't play... Bar chords aren't what you play at bars or some sort of junk like that. No, it's when you get a metal crowbar and you bash your guitar into pieces. Okay, that is technically also a lie. So now I'll start telling the truth. This is a guitar. A geeter. I think it's called a jeter. Okay, so I've got a jeter here, and we're going to learn how to play bar chords. Okay, so being serious now. So serious. The idea behind bar chords is when you don't know how to play a normal chord a different way, you can play a bar chord of it and move it around a whole bunch of places. It's kind of the same idea as having a capo, but if you didn't have the capo. So, yeah, if you don't know what a capo is, then watch a different video of mine. I'll maybe put it up here. That's about capos. But we're going to learn about bar chords today. So when learning bar chords, you will need to know 4 different basic chords. 4. I'll put them right up here, and you can read them along with me. The first one is E major. Great, good job. Second one, E minor. So sad. And then A major. Funky, great, wonderful town. There it is, learn it. And stuff. And A minor. Pitiful. So many sadnesses today. Alright, so now that you've learned those chords, I'm very proud of you. Congratulations. We will now learn how to use them as bar chords. So the idea behind bar chords is that you are playing a chord, but you're moving it up somewhere else, for example, and you're pretty much moving the nut up there as well. So all these open strings that are playing with this one, those ones are not going to be open anymore. They also have to go higher when these other fingers go higher. So this is the chord, and then this is not right. So these open strings, as these all move up 1 fret, also has to move up 1 fret. Beautiful. That's an F chord, and it's just hits the spot. Okay, I actually don't like F chords all that much, but it's besides the point. So first, we're going to learn how to use your finger as a crowbar. You do a little hook thing, and you just open something. Now, we're going to learn how to use it as a bar on the guitar. You take the pad part of your finger, right there at the end, on your index finger. You could probably try to do it with a different finger, but it would be a bit weird. So, just use your index finger. We'll do everything right now on the 5th fret. So, take your finger like this, make it real straight, and then put it right up to the fret bar, which is this little metal diddly. See that little metal diddly? Okay, so put your finger right there, and then your thumb's on the other side, and it's just pressing real hard, like this. So it's pressing on there, and while you're practicing it, you can press down with all your other fingers if you want. And as your finger is very straight, up on the fret bar, then you press down real hard. Yeah, and it does it. It just plays all of these notes on the 5th fret all at the same time with just 1 finger in 1 foul swoop. Magical! Ha! Huzzah! Okay. Great. Just keep on practicing that, and you can move it around. Ha! Great. Whoa! No way! So, you move it around, but here's the thing. Always keep it right up against the fret bar, and it'll be right like behind it. So if you're playing on the 5th fret, it'll be like 5th fret right up towards the 5th fret bar. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars. So, like that. Because if you do it like towards the back of the fret, it sounds like junk. Magical. Okay. So you practice that. You can pause this here, practice that for a couple of weeks, and then have grown some facial hair, and then press play again. And then now you're here wanting to learn the rest of it. Congratulations. So you've got this on here, and you're like, man, this sounds like a really good just that thing. But that doesn't sound like much music. Kind of sounds lame. So then I would say, hey, Rodney, maybe is your name. Rodney, how about you play a chord on top of that? And so let's take this E chord, you know, from down here. Maybe you play it like this, but we're going to change it to like this. Great. And let's move it up here on top of this barred thingy. Great. Fantastic. And now it actually doesn't even really matter if you're pressing down on these 3 strings right here, because they've got these guys playing those strings. So really what matters is this bottom one and those top 2. All right. Fantastic. And so that's a major chord. Great. And then this is a minor chord. So you take that E minor from down here and you just move it right on up. And it's just sad. And everybody cries, and then you make lots of money off all of them wanting to hear the major chord to be happy again. That's how music works. Great. Okay, so now you've learned how to do that. And you'll have to learn what all the notes kind of down here of on the E string are, which is a good thing to know anyway. So I'll go through it quickly, but you should probably also go back and relearn it and stuff if you need to. So it's an open E, and if you don't know any music theory at all, the scale goes from A to G and then cycles back around from A again. So we're starting at E here, and there's some sharps and some flats between some stuff, and we'll just do it real quick. So it goes E, F, F sharp, which is the same as G flat, which you're not going to run into. G, G sharp, A sharp or B flat, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and E. So the great thing about that is that this E chord is based off of this bottom note. So if you move that around, whatever note your low E string has on it, and you play that E chord over it, is going to be that. So like, I've got this guy, that's B, that's a B chord. That's a D, that's a D chord. But this up here sounds kind of, I mean, it sounds fine actually, but it sounds maybe a little bit difficult to play it up there. And so maybe moving from here to up there is a little bit of a challenge. So now we're going to bring in this A chord, which you could play like this normally if you want. But today we're going to play it like this with these 3 fingers, because that's what you're going to need for bar chords. And you're going to say, I want to bar that one too. So let's say you want to play that D chord. So now, again, 5th fret, and you're going to bar just these 5 strings and not the low E string. You're not going to leave it open. Either you're just going to try not to play it, like just ignore the string, or what I like to do is bar these ones and then kind of rest my finger, if you can see right here, scooting up. So bar these ones and rest my finger right up there so that when I play it, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't sound like nothing. Play it till the dogs come home. I think that's an expression. I don't know. And then you'll play this A chord over it. Great. So you're playing these 5? Not that one. Great. So there you go. So that's a D chord, and you can do the same thing with this. And you just have to learn what all the notes are on. So A, B flat, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, etc., etc. And so knowing what those are, you can do pretty much all of those chords. And whatever, for those ones, whatever the root note is there, that'll be that chord. And you can technically do other chords over this. Like you can use a D chord and bar it like that. But it's way easier. It's just, those are pretty much the only chords. A's and E's are kind of the only chord shapes that you'll use to move around for bar chords. And so the exact same thing applies for minor chords. So E minor, we'll bring it up here, A, and we'll play the E minor instead of the E major. E minor, like that, or like whatever. A minor. So sad. Too bad. And you wouldn't really have to play that one because you can play an actual A minor. But that's really one of the few ways of playing like a G sharp minor. You know, there's other ways of playing different versions of it, like that's like a G sharp minor 7 or minor 9 or something. This is really useful to be able to move around stuff and quickly get to chords that you don't already know. So you don't have to learn some weird new version of something. And as you start learning different versions of chords, like an A minor 7, you can move that around as well. It's kind of more jazzy. E minor 7, same thing. So yeah, that's really a lot to it. The only other things that I would include here are that there's some smaller chords that would require you to bar them if you're playing them like the super traditional way. So like an F, they'll either have you play, like if you look in just typical chord charts, will either be this F, like barred like that, or a lot of times will be this guy where you're playing 3rd fret, 2nd fret of the D and E string, and then you're barring these two. Neat, huh? So, so that's some applications too. If there's smaller barring, things like that, or weird chords like that. But typically, for bar chords, what you're really looking at is taking E major, E minor, A major, A minor, and just moving them around. And whatever the root note is going to be that chord. And so on and so forth. Pretty great. I'm also going to, for my next video, next week or 2 weeks from now or whenever it happens, I'm going to make a video about the typical chords that ask you to bar them. For example, F and B. And my preference of different chords that you can do instead, or alternate chords or whatever. Because, you know, whatever, just because I want to do that. So yeah, check back in next week and you will learn more things. And Mr. Plow and I will teach you whatever you need to know to teach yourself guitar. Subscribe, like, comment, whatever. Do whatever YouTube people would typically do. Alright, peace and blessings and things. Have a good time. Bye.
I used to be an antelope. I couldn't walk very far. I only ate fruit by the foot, but I'd always drop